pleasure in the Commission to coordinate what we call a focus area, Internet of Things, and which we fund several large-scale pilots with a total funding more than 100 million euro in different areas. You might know it, it's in smart farming, smart cities, it's in wearables, it's in connected and automated driving, it's in active living and aging. And there we coordinate sort of these activities together with our partnering units and directorates and DGs. The large-scale pilots represent a rich use case for evidence where technology could serve citizens. It's a rich source of information to provide evidence for future policy making, both in terms of digital, GDPR, security, privacy, but also in terms of what is the future common agricultural policy, what is the energy policy, what are the policy issues for mobility. So that this, we see also from the conference that the technology on IoT is maturing. We see more investment in different sectors. Most popular are the manufacturing, most popular are the smart cities and others. We see that technology is more mature, and we have to see what is the blocking and the thresholds for scaling that up. Is it investment in infrastructure? Is it investment in deployment? Is it missing standards? So we had a turning point for IoT, and that is also reflected in the conference with a high commitment of the people in the exhibition and in the demonstrations and also in the events. So said this, what we're doing, what can we conclude from the focus area IoT? First of all, we were able to scale it up to have more investment, more than 300 million euros on pilots and platforms under the focus area, what we call digitizing European industry. So we go across the industry, again, including manufacturing and energy as a new kids on the block. So really looking at digital as cross-sector technology, where we try to find solutions which could be scaled across different sectors, where we try to make support to implement the European policy framework across different policy streams. So the challenge is still there, and we're just starting on the launch of the new projects after summer. So we are not yet there, but we have a very good experience from the IoT large-scale pilots. So what's next? What is the challenge? What we learned from the conference over here? We heard it that there are new technologies coming up, bringing new challenges for the users and for the system integrators and the whole value chain. One of which, you know, it is the artificial intelligence. What do you do? What do we do with the data collected from the IoT devices? But more important also, what sort of new services and applications are driven by 5G? 5G real-time networks with low latency, directly connecting different systems and providing new services. Within that, we see a major role from the IoT point of view in designing and developing the edge at the devices, which become more intelligent, where we integrate more technologies, more sensing, more actuating, but also more computing. So we expect also to have more intelligence in terms of artificial intelligence at the edge devices. And the big question, of course, is who will design the edge devices and who are the main stakeholders driving that forward. And we have to reflect also as an input for the new Commission, you know, how do global value chains change? What is the role of European supplier industry? What is the role of European industry and telecom industry at large? And what's the position and the leadership of European industry in the future? So the challenges are not getting smaller, but we can rely still on the use cases we have from the large-scale pilots. And some of the pilots come to its end, so we expect that these use cases will be sustained because it's a rich source of information. We have to look at sustainable issues. We certainly expect that use cases and the good experience is taken up by regions and member states. We talk about innovation hubs in some areas like farming, manufacturing. We have sort of a wide experience already to team up with regions and to provide competences to the regions and competence particularly for smaller companies and mid-sized companies to gain from the digitalization and to learn from that and to make experiments on that. From our side, we have joint calls still open with the DG Agri on smart regions, actually, bringing together different platforms in order to foster deployment for digital infrastructure in regions to support smart farming, to smart health services, remote health services in regions, to have an integrated mobility and energy and infrastructure, particularly in rural areas as well. So the call is coming up. It will be evaluated in April, will be closing in April or March next year. So there is sort of a follow-up on the pilots in that sense as well. Beyond that, what we're doing, what is the challenge? The cross-DG cooperation will be encouraged in the new framework, what we call Horizon Europe. We are present in several clusters in the area of energy, in the area of farming, certainly in the area of digital. As mentioned, we have to reflect and discuss with the member states also on our strategy to support European value chains, to increase the digital capacity in terms of high-performance computing, in terms of network infrastructure, data infrastructure in general, and to support the skills across different member states and regions. So we talk about the deployment program, Digital Europe program. We talk about what are the priorities in very challenging political context. What are the challenges for the future and for the digital? Is it becoming a commodity, or do we still have a leading role in driving the new digital services? So it's open for discussion, and we need particularly the support of the stakeholders, which are linked and which are not linked to the large-scale pilots, which are active in partnerships like the Alliance of IoT, which are active in other partnerships like the Excel for new devices, like the Big Data Value Association, like the new PPP on AI. So we need the input of all stakeholders to identify the priorities for the next Commission. But also we have to think about new partnerships, 5G and IoT, perhaps maybe more IoT and edge, IoT and mobility. We don't know yet. We have to see what will be the final result, where we have convergence, where we could have short-term, mid-term impact also on the market and preserve wealth and employment in Europe. So that's basically all from my side. I'm very happy to see the success and the mobilization of resources and people around the large-scale pilots, and I hope many of the results will be taken up in the future, and we can build on the good practice. So many thanks for all the participants of the projects, all those who listen to my message, and I congratulate you for your enthusiasm, your commitment, and your positive spin of cooperation, which you have shown and demonstrated within the pilots. Thank you.